For teleSUR, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. And we start off in the Middle East, where U.S. airstrikes in Syria and Iraq are continuing today. The U.S. Army says airstrikes are targeting oil fields and Islamic State bases in the east of the country. The campaign has so far killed an estimated 183 people. The British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says 36 of those victims were civilians. In the U.S., the Pentagon has denied any civilian casualties. In Egypt, the two governing Palestinian factions, Hamas and Fatah, have reached an agreement to allow Fatah to operate in the war-ravaged Gaza Strip. Following a two-day meeting in Cairo, the two sides agreed that the unity government run by Fatah President Mahmoud Abbas would take control of the Gaza Strip, which was attacked by Israel in July. Many hope that Fatah, which has better relations with Israel, will achieve an easing of the blockade of Gaza. Abbas is expected to make a call for the end of the Israeli occupation of the Gaza Strip within 3 years at the United Nations General Assembly today. He will also call for a new timetable to renew peace talks with Israel. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon promised during yesterday's debate that Gaza will continue receiving the organization's support to rebuild after Israel's 50-day air and ground invasion in July and in August of this year. Also at the UN today, Latin American and Caribbean leaders will continue to address the General Assembly. Salvadorian President Sanchez Cerén spoke this morning criticizing the U.S. blockade of Cuba. Yesterday, Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernández was the only president to raise the issue of Central American immigration. He acknowledged the high crime and immigration rates in his country. Murder rates have soared in Honduras since a 2009 coup ousting President Manuel Zelaya. Honduras has become the country with the most homicides in the world. A new report by the Committee to Protect Journalists says that media workers there are often under threat. They say 3 journalists have been murdered for their work in recent months and that there is a lack of interest by the authorities to investigate. And we go to Venezuela, where the government has released another video showing opposition activist Laurent Saleh planning violent attacks to destabilize the country. The new video shows Saleh and his group planning to hire snipers and professional mercenaries to start a bloodbath. The right-wing activist also spoke about cleansing universities. Saleh reveals that he worked with former Colombian President Álvaro Uribe in a smear campaign against political opponents. Incumbent Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff's popularity continues gaining momentum just a week before Brazilian elections. The two latest first-round polls have seen the preference for her Workers' Party jump ahead of main rival Marina Silva of the Socialist Party. Polls show Dilma in the lead with 38%, while Silva gains to 25%. Rousseff says her party's policies have pulled 21 million people out of poverty, while Marina Silva has set herself up as an anti-abortion, pro-business candidate. Brazilian voters will head to the polls October 5th. Ongoing peace talks between FARC representatives and Colombian government delegates in Havana yesterday resulted in what both sides called tremendous progress. FARC delegates say that important but modest agreements have been reached. They also reiterated that both sides should disarm. United States Attorney General Eric Holder announced his resignation yesterday. It comes just weeks after his high-profile involvement in the race-related Ferguson, Missouri protests. Holder was the first African-American Attorney General of the United States. During his 6 years on the job, Holder's priorities included voting rights, sentencing reform, and addressing racial profiling measures, as well as trying to close the notorious Guantanamo Bay military prison in Cuba. Activists complain that most of those issues are still not resolved.
People consistently express concerns stemming from...
In Europe today, the UK Parliament voted overwhelmingly to join the U.S.-led bombing of Islamic State targets in Syria. Hundreds came out for an anti-war protest outside the Prime Minister's house in Downing Street last night, denouncing the plans. A number of parliamentarians and unions have issued statements of opposition to the move. A Russian rocket reached the International Space Station yesterday, delivering 3 astronauts, 2 from Russia and 1 from the United States. The crew, including Russia's 4th female cosmonaut, Elena Serova, will stay there until March of next year. It comes at a time when U.S.-Russia relations are at an all-time low and the future of the $1 billion project is in question. More on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For teleSUR English, I'm Cody Weddle.